Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome here to Fort Lee for today's broadcast of Fort Lee softball. As the Bridgemen welcome in the Hackensack Comets here today in a non-divisional game in the Big North Conference. Hackensack 3-4 on the season. Fort Lee coming off their first win of the year, 1-3 overall. Both teams having defeated Dwight Morrow in their last games. For the Bridgemen, they defeated Dwight Morrow on April 12th, 18-2 to pick up their first win of the season. Bridgemen a season ago went 7-12 overall, 4-4 at home, and are trying to pick up back-to-back wins as they take on a Hackensack team that already, with their 3 wins this season, have surpassed their season total of wins from a season ago, when the Comets went 2-21 last season. They have back-to-back wins also against Dwight Morrow, defeating Maroon Raiders on April 14th and 15th, outscoring them by 34-0 margin. Maria Giannatasio is our camera operator, along with Dimitri Nanis here today. So glad you could join us on the Fort Lee Athletics broadcast page on YouTube. As leading off will be number 10, Brianna Darling, the shortstop for Hackensack. Darling is a freshman hitting .409 on the season. And that's the first pitch of the game for Jenna Yang, a fellow freshman, towing the rubber in the circle again for the Bridgemen here this afternoon. Around 60 degrees, cloudy and windy here today, as that's going to be a strike into the zone. 0-2 the count ahead of Darling. Darling went 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored, 3 stolen bases against Dwight Morrow. So the Bridgemen trying to keep this leadoff hitter off the base paths. That is grounded foul down the third base line. Bridgemen in their home orange with the black pants. Hackensack in their road navy with the gold numerals. The 0-2. Just missing on the outside edge. Despite picking up the loss in the last broadcast that we did here, the loss against Ridgefield Park, Yang was impressive, producing 9 strikeouts in the afternoon. 0-2. Flying out, and it's going to be caught down the right field line, as that's going to be the first out of the game, as Eno made the putout in right field. 1 away to begin the top of the first inning. Fort Lee defense, Papavasilo in left field, Park in center, Eno in right. Schulman down at third, West at shortstop, as that is fouled back. Plout at second, Hausman at first, Castillo doing the catching for Yang. That brings up Gianna Bruno. Bruno, the second place hitter in this Hackensack lineup, the center fielder, hitting .478 on the season. Junior was outstanding recently against Dwight Morrow. Takes that one high, 1-1. Bruno went 3 for 5, a double, 3 runs scored, 2 runs driven in as well, just on April 15th alone. Earlier this season, Bruno had a game where she registered 2 home runs, drove in 4 runs against Passaic on April 4th. As they just have a stoppage here, just waiting for some fans to meander their way outside the facility. That is grounded, and that is going to be foul down the third base line. Again, with Bruno's speed, that would have been definitely extra bases if that stayed in fair territory. 1-2 the count against Bruno. 1 out, nobody on base here, top of the first inning. A win would get Hackensack to 500 on the season. Get their 4th win of the year, as that missed high outside the zone, 2-2. A win for the Bridgemen would pull them 1 game back of 500 on the year, after they dropped their first 3 in a row. Give them 2 straight wins, laying off that pitch in the outside zone, as now Bruno runs the count full at 3-2. Hackensack coached by Brian Hooper. as that's going to be outside for ball 4, and Gianna Bruno will take the base. First walk of the day surrendered by Jenna Yang. First base runner of the afternoon for Hackensack. Now with one away. Third place hitter, Ava DeBar, now standing in for the first time this afternoon. DeBar, a junior, hitting .412 on the season. She had a monster game last time for the Comets. Taken to the outside corner for a strike, 0-2 against DeBar. DeBar went 3 for 3, had a homer and 5 RBIs against Dwight Morrow. Behind in the count is Yang, trying to hit that outside edge, but missing outside the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That one is chopped down to third base. Schulman will throw over in time for the ground out. There's now 2 away with the base runner, Bruno, heading down to second base. So a runner in scoring position with 2 away as Jenna Yang tries to maneuver her way out of the top of a scoreless first inning. She'll have to contend with now number 17, Grace Abraham, the junior who's hitting in the cleanup spot, 4th in the lineup here today for the Comets of Hackensack, hitting .412 on the season. Jettisons that one foul into the top of the cage. 0-1 the count against Abraham. Went 3 for 5, had a pair of doubles, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored, and 2 stolen bases in their lopsided victory against Dwight Morrow on April 15th. Well, 1 on the outside. Now 0-2. So Yang is hitting that outside corner. Now 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. Runner at second, 2 away. Scoreless here in the top of the first. On the outer edge, that time just a little too wide to make this a 1-2 count. Abraham has produced doubles in 3 straight games for Hackensack. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Jenna Yang will strand that base runner down at second base after allowing a 1-out walk. She settles down and finishes off the inning without allowing a run and a hit. We head to the bottom of the first. It's still scoreless between Fort Lee and Hackensack as you're watching Fort Lee softball here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. As we get set for the bottom of the first inning, scoreless here in Fort Lee. Let's meet the Bridgman starting lineup here today for Coach Bill Straub. Leading off and pitching, Jenna Yang. Hitting second and playing in center field, Caitlin Park. Hitting third and playing at first base, Olivia Hausman. Doing the catching and hitting fourth is Avalie Castillo. Hitting fifth and playing at third base is Emma Schulman. Hitting sixth and playing at second base is Bella Plout. Hitting seventh and the designated player, Taylor Sahulis. Hitting eighth and playing in left field, Ariana Papavasalou. And hitting ninth and doing the catching in right field, Paige Eno. Jenna Yang stepping in. Yang had a pair of hits also in that loss against Ridgefield Park here at home last Monday. Yang, only a freshman, beginning rave reviews already in the start of her high school career. As she is taking on Hackensack here today, that are going to be led in the circle by Rihanna Hernandez, the junior. As that's grounded down to third, will be handled and thrown over in time for the 5-3 putout. Yang is retired for the first out of the bottom of the first. Hernandez for Hackensack is pitching to a 4.13 ERA this season. She's thrown 39 innings of work, allowed 53 hits, 47 runs, 23 of which have been earned, and has produced 30 strikeouts while walking 17. Brings up Caitlin Park, the center fielder for the Bridgmen, hitting from the right side. Swing and a miss. That time fooled was Park. She was expecting like fastball, got off speed instead. Both teams represent the Big North Conference. Hackensack is out of the Big North Freedom Division, one of the toughest divisions in all of the Big North Conference. Hernandez kicks and delivers as that one is sent skyward down the right field line, venturing over to make the play. Onofre making the stop, and that's going to be the second out of the inning now for Fort Lee in the bottom of the first. Big North Freedom Division consists of Powers, Ramapo, Ridgewood, Paramus, and Northern Highlands to go along with Hackensack. Kayla Onofre, the senior right fielder, making that play on the flyout. That brings up Olivia Hausman. Hausman, the first baseman, had a good eye at the plate against Ridgefield Park, drew a couple walks in that game. Fort Lee was being no hit for a while in that contest. Then their offense started to percolate a little late in that game. Ridgefield Park would go on to tack on some insurance runs and win 7-2. Fort Lee coming in the action today, tied for third in the Big North American Division behind Ridgefield Park and Dumont. Tied with Cliffside Park. As that hits the outside edge for a strike for Hernandez. Hackensack defense in left to Barr, Bruno in center, Onofre in right, Abraham at third, Darling at short, Shot at second, Dooley at first, as that's fouled into the cage. Hicks doing the catching here today for Hernandez. Hernandez again trying to get through the inning as Hausman will pop that one up to shortstop, and Darling will be underneath that for the third and final out of the inning. So Fort Lee is retired in order. It's scoreless after one. We head to the top of the second inning here on YouTube. Only one base runner in that first inning between the two teams. Relatively quick inning of work as now Jenna Yang gets back to the circle and is getting set to start her second inning of work for Fort Lee. Scoreless here as we head to the top of the second between Hackensack and the Bridgmen. Leading things off will be the catcher, Serene Hicks. Hicks is a senior, hitting 143 on the season. Has produced 2 base hits overall in the year. Had one of those hits in the last game against Dwight Morrow. Also drew 3 walks against the Maroon Raiders. Again, it's not as warm as it was this time a week ago. Sun's starting to shine after that falls in for a ball, 2-0. It was rainy earlier on in the morning. Sun starting to appear a little bit after majority of the day has been cloudy. The wind has been swirling around the facility. We'll see if that is going to be playing a part here in anything that's in the air. Striking the outside corner. Yang has that one fouled off by Hicks. Ricocheted off her own leg a bit, and now it's 2 strikes against her. As Hicks with an emergency swing, just staying alive there. As once again, 2 strikes in the count against the opposing catcher. Has drawn 5 walks this season. She's got a great eye at the plate. Here's Yang's delivery. Once again, fouled straight back into the backstop. Brianna Hernandez, the opposing pitcher, waiting on deck to help her own cause out. That one is dribbled. It's going to be fielded by Yang herself and will throw down to first base for the out. So almost like a swinging bunt there by Hicks, who was trying to hustle her way down the line. Nice job of getting off the rubber and making the play from the pitching circle. 1-3 ground out brings up Brianna Hernandez. Hernandez not only an adept pitcher, but also a power hitter. 444 batting average so far this season. She's driven in 6 runs on 8 hits. And she'll drop that one into right field for the base hit. First base hit of the game for either team. This time brought in by Brianna Hernandez. Hernandez is a 1-out base runner. And she'll have a courtesy runner come on to run for her down at first base with 1 out in the top of the second. Second base runner of the day for Hackensack. They had that leadoff walk back in the first inning with Bruno getting on with 1 out. It brings up Marissa Dooley. So a courtesy runner is on for the pitcher down at first base and brings up Dooley. The junior plays first base. That pitch missed the outside, and quickly coming out of her crouch was Castillo to see whether or not the runner was going to be off with the pitch. Dooley hitting .444 on the season as well. 4 hits collected for her. She went 1 for 1 with a walk and a stolen base last game. Comebacker right to the pitcher, going for the sure-handed out at first. Yang probably had a little more time than she even thought. She could have possibly made that play down at second and at least retire that lead runner and maybe think about producing a double play. But instead, she went the conservative route and wanted to get that sure out at first. Now, once again, just like in the first inning, there's 2 away, but a runner down in scoring position at the second base side. Brings up Olivia Williams, the designated player for the Comets, hitting 8th in this lineup here today. Missing to the outside was Yang. Williams, .250 batting average on the season. She's driven in 2 runs. She has scored 7 runs herself. She was 0 for 2 with 2 runs scored and 2 walks drawn against Dwight Morrow. Try to slash that one opposite way, but does so into the cage. First strike against her. In the first inning, Hackensack had a runner down at second with 2 outs, but then Abraham was struck out. Yang drops that one in the dirt. Backed up nicely, though, by Castillo. Doesn't let it get away from her to allow that runner to get down to third base, potentially with 2 outs in the inning. Grounded down to third base side. Just wide of the bag in foul territory as Shulman quickly collected that one before it could roll back into fair territory. 2-2 the count. Kayla Scuddy Ballin, a freshman, number 2, is the courtesy runner down at second base for the Comets. That one just missed on the outside and runs the count full at 3-2. Yang's 3-2 is popped up, but foul and out of play. So once again, we'll redo the full count here. Onofre, the right fielder, who's hitting 9th in the lineup, is due next on deck. That one again is driven foul to the right side of the third base bag. So Williams has done a nice job of prolonging this at bat with a couple of foul offs here in the last couple of pitches against Jenna Yang. Yang with 1 strikeout already in this game. Here's the 3-2. Missing on the outer edge, ball 4. Second walk surrendered by Jenna Yang. Now there's runners at first and second with 2 outs here in the top of a scoreless second inning. Brings up Kayla Onofre, the senior, hitting .308 on the season. A strike called against her, 0-1 the count. Onofre went 0 for 2 with a run, an RBI, 2 doubles, and 2 walks, as well as 2 stolen bases, I should say, against Dwight Morrow in their last game. So much like the top of the order, a lot of speed in the bottom of the order for Coach Hooper's side. Yang trying to put an end to this inning without giving up the lead. Bunts drop down. Yang will field it. She'll throw over, but throws it away. That's going to allow Hackensack to score the first run of the game. So once again, there's that speed element that I was just alluding to. They decide to drop down the bunt. Forced Yang to field it right in front of the pitching circle, and then she threw it away, trying to get that out down at first base. Runners move to second and third on the throwing error. 1-0 lead now for Hackensack. Still batting here in the top of the second. E1 on the play, as Onofre used her speed as her main element of surprise. Brings up Brianna Darling, the shortstop. Darling is 0 for 1. Flew out to right field back in her first plate appearance in the first. As Darling, again, trying to get on base behind the count now, 0-2. So with 2 outs in the inning, a walk and then an error, leading to the first run of the day. Darling just got a piece of that one to stay alive in this at-bat. Rihanna Hernandez produced the first hit of the game for Hackensack. Courtesy runner who came in for her was the one who eventually scored the game's first run. And there's strike 3 called. So for the second time in this game, Jenna Yang produces a strikeout to end an inning, but not before Hackensack is able to cross home plate with the first run of the game. After the throwing error by Jenna Yang, we head to the bottom of the second, 1-0 lead for Hackensack here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. 1-0 lead for Hackensack as we head now to the bottom of the second inning. Ava Lee Castillo, the fourth place hitter for the Bridgmen, getting her first plate appearance. 0-1 the count against Castillo, the catcher. Fort Lee were retired in order back in the bottom of the first inning by Rihanna Hernandez. The right-hander delivers as that's fouled back and quickly ahead of the count against Castillo, 0-2. Castillo hitting from the right side for Fort Lee. 0-2 is driven on a line drive right into the glove of the waiting right fielder. Onofre making the play, and there's now one out to begin the second for Fort Lee. Second put out there by the Comet right fielder. That'll bring up the Fort Lee third baseman, Emma Schulman, hitting fifth in the lineup here today. Schulman takes low to the outside, 1-0. Hernandez's rise ball up and outside the zone, now 2-0 in favor of Schulman. Hernandez has retired the first four batters she has faced to begin this game. Swing and a miss there by Schulman into the catcher's mitt. Get the first strike against her in this at-bat. Saw Schulman produce a little offense for the Bridgmen late in that game against Ridgefield Park. Dribbles it down to third base, and that's going to be a routine play by Abraham. Throwing it over the diamond to Dooley. And there's two outs here in the bottom of the second inning after the 5-3 ground out. That'll bring up the second baseman for Fort Lee, Bella Plout. First ball swinging, will pop that one. Here in foul territory, and once again making the play is Abraham. So Rihanna Hernandez has retired the first six Bridgmen in order. We head to the top of the third inning. It's a 1-0 lead for the visiting Hackensack Comets. Top of the third inning as Jenna Yang back to work for the Bridgmen as they trail 1-0. As it was a throwing error by the Fort Lee pitcher that led to that first run of the game in that top of the second inning for Hackensack. Gianna Bruno with her second plate appearance. Bruno drew a walk back in the first inning but was stranded down at second base to end the first inning. Bruno hitting from the right side. Again, a .478 hitter on the season. Yang missing inside as well. Bruno producing 11 hits already in this season and also driving in 8 runs. She's that offensive catalyst in the top of this order. As that's a swing and a miss. Chasing after what looked like it was going to be ball 4. Bruno also has been hit by a pitch 12 times this season. So she just finds a way to get on base. As that curve to the outside, and now it's going to be 3 balls against her in the count. Yang has retired the leadoff hitter in the first 2 innings that she's faced. Trying to do the same here in the top of the third. That's a hard hit ball down to shortstop. Ranging over and making the play in time was Jamie West to the shortstop for Fort Lee. And the leadoff hitter is retired to begin the top of the third. That'll bring up Ava DeBar, the left fielder. DeBar is 0 for 1 here this afternoon, grounded out to third back in the first inning. DeBar fouled that back, 0-1 the count against her. .412 batting average on the season for DeBar. In her 7 hits, she's also collected 1 triple this season. Again, Hackensack putting up gaudy numbers in their last 2 games, outscoring Dwight Morrow 34-0 over those back-to-back contests. Grounded down to second base, throwing over in time that time. Louts getting it over to Hausman. And for the first time this afternoon, Hackensack has been retired in their first 2 batters of an inning, so there's 2 away with no one on base. As it brings up Grace Abraham in the cleanup spot. The third baseman went down with a strikeout back in the first inning. Abraham hitting here with no one on base. Takes it to the outside for a ball 1-0. Yang's 1-0. Missed inside. Now 2-0 the count against Abraham. Jenna Yang trying to produce her first 1-2-3 inning of the ball game. Her team trails 1-0 as Hackensack hits here in the top of the third. 2 outs, no one on base. The 2-0 take it inside for a strike, 2-1. Another nice, comfortable afternoon here, already in mid-April. Abraham socks that one deep, and that is going to bounce 1 hop against the wall. Extra bases for Abraham, and now for Grace Abraham, the junior for Hackensack. She has produced her 4th consecutive game where she has at least 1 double. Shows off that strength as she sent that down the left field line, took a 1 bouncer against the wall. So Abraham is on second with 2 outs here in the top of the third. Her 5th double already this season, and that is the 2nd hit of the afternoon for Hackensack. Brings up Serene Hicks, the catcher. Hicks had that swinging bunt attempt and was thrown out trying to advance down to first base. Her last time up in the 2nd inning. Hicks again, softly hit, as Yang is going to allow that to roll its way foul down the first base line, as she was not going to be able to get to that in time if it did not roll foul. 3rd consecutive inning that Hackensack has had at least 1 base runner reach second base. 0-2 the count now against Hicks. Abraham standing down at second. That's taken low for strike 3 called. 3rd strikeout of the afternoon for Jenna Yang. She once again strands a runner in scoring position for Hackensack. It remains a 1-run deficit for Fort Lee as the Bridgemen head back to bat here as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. Hackensack leads Fort Lee 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the third inning. Bridgman still looking for their first base hit or even base runner of the game, as Rihanna Hernandez, the starting pitcher for the Comets of Hackensack, has retired the first 6 batters she's faced in order. Dribbled in the dirt for a ball. 1-0 the count. Taylor Sahulis, the freshman. First plate appearance. Designated player here today for the Bridgman. Again, bounce in the dirt in front of her. 2-0 the count in her favor. As the wind begins to pick up, 3-0 the count as Hernandez has not had her pinpoint accuracy to start off this first batter that she's facing in the bottom of the third. 3 balls, no strikes. Guides that one into the strike zone. 3-1 now the count. Bill Straub's Bridgman, a very young unit. Several freshmen in prominent roles here in the varsity. That one is grounded foul to the right side of the first base bag, so the count runs full at 3-2. Hernandez battling back after falling behind the count 3-0. Solis waiting for this one, rips that one, and is snagged out of midair. What a play down at first base by Dooley. And there's one away in the bottom of the third inning. Ariana Papavasilu, the sophomore, getting the start here today for Fort Lee. Did not play against Ridgefield Park. Getting the start in left field this afternoon, hitting 8th in the lineup. As that's bounced low. 2-0 the count. That one is grounded down to the second baseman. Handled by Schott over in time, another ground out. And now that is 8 consecutive Bridgman retired in order. 2 away with no one on base in the bottom of the third. We'll bring up the right fielder, Paige Eno, for her first plate appearance. Eno will hit from the left side against Hernandez. Hernandez has been pitching to her defense so far in this game. No strikeouts produced by the Hackensack hurler. And a line drive out into the glove of the first baseman, Dooley, to begin this inning. That one is sent down the line, but foul. Was trying to hook that one in play and have that dropped into left field. But it just kept on hooking down the foul line. Hernandez looking to her wristband to see what pitch to throw here. Again, Eno trying to go the other way with it. Right into the waiting hands of Coach Straub in foul territory. And a swing and a miss on the outer edge, and that's going to be strike 3. First strikeout of the day for Rihanna Hernandez. Hernandez is perfect through 3. We head to the top of the fourth. Hackensack still leads Fort Lee by a score of 1-0. Rihanna Hernandez will lead things off to begin the top of the fourth inning. Hernandez is 1 for 1. Had a base hit to right field in her first plate appearance back in the second inning. Courtesy runner would come in to run for her, and she would eventually come around to score after a throwing error allowed the Hackensack Comets to take the lead. As Yang missing inside. 2-0 the count. Ground ball, trying to backhand it down at second base and not able to get it over in time. And Hernandez is on for the second time in as many at-bats in this game. That was going to be a tough play for Ploutz down at second base. She was trying to backhand it. It was probably her only play on the ball. So it'll be an infield single for Rihanna Hernandez. Third hit of the game for Hackensack. And for the first time this afternoon, the leadoff runner is on for the Comets. And once again, they'll go to a courtesy runner for their pitcher. That'll bring up Marissa Dooley, the first baseman, who is 0 for 1 after grounding back to the pitcher. Her last time to Jenna Yang. Fouled into the top of the cage in the backstop. 0-1 the count. And in thinking back to that inning when it was the comebacker hit by Dooley, Jenna Yang probably could have had an opportunity to, at least at the very minimum, get the lead runner out if she turned and fired to second. Instead went just to first base. That's a dribbler that gets through, though, the infield. And quickly making the turn, heading down to third. Hackensack will take the aggressive approach and also swipe second base in the process. So Marissa Dooley now with a double up the middle. Runners at second and third with nobody out here in the top of the fourth inning. Hackensack trying to build upon their one-run lead. Olivia Williams, the designated player, drew a walk her first time up. As Jenna Yang now pitching, trying to out of trouble. Straight away center field. That goes into the glove of Park. Not deep enough for the runner to tag from third and score. So a big out procured there by Yang on the fly ball to center field. One away. Kayla Onofre will step in. Onofre was the one who hit that little dribbler back to Yang, and Yang threw it away, then allowed that one run to score. Hitting ninth in the order. He dropped down the bunt, and that is what gave the freshman for Fort Lee all sorts of trouble. Onofre, Darling, they're two of the main speed threats in this lineup. Again, she was bluffing at that potential bunt to be laid down. One and one the count. Missing to the outside, now 2-1. One run on 4 hits so far in this game for Hackensack. Trying to build their lead here in the road portion of the top of the fourth. That one is dropped in the bucket. Beautiful pitch there by Yang for the off-speed strike. 2 strikes now in this count against Onofre. And there's strike 3 called. A huge strikeout there for Jenna Yang. And she now has a pathway potentially out of this inning. Runners at second and third with nobody out. But a fly out to straightaway shallow center field, and then a backwards K with the 4th strikeout of the game. And now there's 2 away with runners at second and third. Top of the order, and Brianna Darling. That's going to be a strike, but it got away from Castillo, and that will allow the second run to score for Hackensack. Ball got away again, and another run's going to score. So just when it looked like Fort Lee might have a pathway out of the inning, after having runners at second and third with nobody out, Ball got away from Castillo on the wild pitch, and then the ensuing throwback to the pitcher was also dropped. And tough sledding right now for Fort Lee. They give up 2 runs in the inning. That was initially ruled a strike against Darling as well to make it even a tougher situation. So Hackensack has taken full advantage of some of the errors that Fort Lee have committed so far in this game. Here's a rocket shot. That is deep to left field, and that is gone! Home run! Brianna Darling. Using the long ball to full effect, Hackensack has played it home 3 runs here in the top of the 4th inning. That was a no-doubter for Darling, her first home run of the season to deep left field, and the Comets producing all 3 runs here with 2 outs in the 4th inning. That brings up Gianna Bruno. Hackensack, 3 runs on 3 hits so far in this inning. Hernandez led off the inning with a single. Marissa Dooley with a hustle double. Now Brianna Darling going yard. Home run deep down the left field line. Rounded down to the shortstop, West with a clean scoop and transfer over to first base for the final out of the inning. Well, the Comets grow their lead. It was 1-0 heading into the top of the 4th. It's now a 4-0 lead for the visitors as we head to the bottom of the 4th here in Fort Lee. As the wind starts to pick up and gust around these parts in Fort Lee, the offense is also starting to pick up here for Hackensack. 3-run top of the 4th inning is now giving them a 4-0 advantage as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Top of the order, Jenna Yang leading off here for the Bridgmen. Missing to the outside, 1-0 against Yang. Yang grounded out down to third base back in the 1st inning. So Yang had a chance there after giving up back-to-back hits to begin the top of the 4th inning. She got 2 quick outs, but then unfortunately could not get the help from her defense. She pops it up to the shortstop. And Rihanna Hernandez continues to roll, 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. That'll bring in Caitlin Park. Park, the center fielder, flew out to right field back in the 1st inning, 0 for 1. Hernandez missing in the outside, 1-0. 10 straight Fort Lee hitters have been retired in order to begin this game. Hernandez with that strike, 1-1. Been a couple of hard hit balls that have ended up in Hackensack gloves on line drive outs. A swing and a miss at that high heat. Park not able to catch up to that one. 2 strikes now against her, 1-2 the count. Hernandez looking into her catcher Hicks for the call. Where she wants this one to try to put her away, this hitter. And she does so, right down the middle. Strike 3 swinging. Caitlin Park is retired. 2 away with no one on base in the bottom of the 4th. Second strikeout of the afternoon now for Hernandez. That'll bring up the Bridgman first baseman, Olivia Hausman. Hausman popped up to short back in the first inning. She's 0 for 1 today. 1-0 the count for Hausman. Sky high ball in the infield again, pop up to deep short, and that's going to be corralled by Darling. So Hernandez remains perfect through 4. As we head to the top of the 5th inning, it's a 4-0 lead for the visitors from Hackensack. To the 5th inning we go here in breezy but beautiful Fort Lee, New Jersey. Glad that he could join us in the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. 4-0 lead for Hackensack. They scored once in the 2nd, 3 more in the last inning in the 4th. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up here against Jenna Yang. Yang missing low for a ball against Ava DeBar. DeBar is 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. She grounded out to third base in the first inning, grounded out to second base for last time up in the 3rd. There's an off-speed strike. 1-1 the count against DeBar. Now that one into the backstop after she was trying to go to right field with it. Two strikes. And strike 3 outside corner. Strikeout number 5 this afternoon for Jenna Yang. That is the 4th time in this game that she has also struck out her opponents looking. So she's thrown some nasty stuff so far in this afternoon's contest. That brings up Grace Abraham. Abraham produced the double in her last plate appearance. She's 1 for 2. Trying to sock that one again to the third base side. Yang has given up 5 hits, 4 runs, one of which has been earned on the solo homer. Again, the errors have proved costly yet again here this afternoon against Fort Lee. Off speed missing to the outside edge. First run of the game scored in the 2nd inning was off a throwing error by the pitcher. The 2nd and 3rd runs came off a wild pitch and then a throwing error from the catcher back to the pitcher. And then there was the solo home run with no one on base. That was the one earned run of this game. Abraham, a dangerous hitter, stepping in from the right side. Lays off that pitch. 3 balls now against Abraham. swing and a miss out in front. Nice deception on that pitch there by Jenna Yang. Grace Abraham was sitting dead red on what she was expecting to be a fastball. Instead got the off-speed. Jenna Yang trying to win this at bat. Missed, though, on the outside edge, and that's going to be ball 4. Third walk surrendered in this game by Jenna Yang, and Grace Abraham is a one-out base runner here in the top of the 5th. That brings up Serene Hicks. Hicks 0 for 2 in this game. Had a little swinging bunt back in the second inning that was fielded by Yang, and then also struck out looking in the third inning. Hicks was trying to go for that one, swung through it and missed. Castillo couldn't field it cleanly as it went to the backstop. That's going to allow Abraham to once again venture down to second base. Hicks now with an RBI opportunity if she could get a base hit here. Dribbles that one down to second base in time. Plout gets it over to first base and Hausman. Second out of the inning with the runner now moved down to third base after the 4-3 ground out. Brings up Brianna Hernandez. Hernandez is 2 for 2 this afternoon. And each time that she has got it on, her courtesy runner has subsequently scored in this game. Missing to the outside. 1-0 against Hernandez. Has produced the offense that has helped her own pitching cause out, and she has been perfect so far in this game. Already on top, 4-0. Leans in, doesn't see that one hit into the strike zone. 2-0 the count against her. Hackensack in search of their 4th win of the season after going 2-21 last season. That one drops in for a strike just at the knees. As that's grounded back to Yang, it deflects it to her second baseman. A fortuitous deflection that time that actually helped Yang out after she was trying to field that comebacker to her own position in the circle. So back-to-back groundouts to second base keeps this a scoreless 5th inning. We head to the bottom of the 5th. It still remains a 4-run lead for Hackensack. Bottom of the 5th inning. Fort Lee still in search of not only their first base hit, but their first base runner of the game. As Ava Lee Castillo, the cleanup hitter, will lead things off for the Bridgemen, trailing 4-0 as they bat here in the 5th. Castillo rips that one right at the glove of the shortstop, handling it in time, and getting it over in time is Darling. So a hot shot to shortstop handled with ease by Darling after she couldn't cleanly pick it out of midair. She knocked it down with her glove and still had the patience to get it over the diamond in time. Castillo with a hard out. One away to begin the bottom of the fifth. That brings up Emma Schulman. Schulman 0 for 1. She grounded out down to third base in her first plate appearance. As Hernandez winds and fires, missing outside 1-0. And Rihanna Hernandez has been pitching to her defense. Not one of those performances where it's just dominant strikeouts here and there. And that's a pop-up right into the glove of the catcher Hicks. With the mask off, makes the play. Schulman retired, 2 away in the bottom of the fifth. That brings up Bella Plout. Plout fouled out to the third baseman in her first plate appearance back in the second inning. 0 for 1. Plout will get that for a base hit. That's the first hit of the day for Fort Lee. Got that just over the head of the infield into shallow center field. First hit against Hernandez. And there's a 2-out base runner now for the Bridgemen. Taylor Solis now stepping in, the designated player. As that pitch missed to the outside, 1-0. Solis had a line drive out to the first baseman back in the third inning. Hits that one to the second baseman. Will go the short route for the force out. 4-6 fielder's choice will end the inning. Fort Lee gets their first produced hit of the game off the bat of Bella Plout, but they strand one runner on base. We head to the top of the sixth inning. It remains a 4-0 margin in favor of the Hackensack Comets. Swing and a miss by Marissa Dooley to start off the top of the sixth inning. Dooley had that base hit to center field that she turned a single into a double with her hustle down to second base. Dooley grounds it down to West at short, but her throw is off the mark. Hausman couldn't field it, and that allowed Dooley to venture down to second base. Another error against Fort Lee's defense so far in this game, as West looked like she was there in time. Once again, having in the back of her mind, like her other teammates have done throughout the course of this game, keeping in mind the speed on the bases of Hackensack. They've rushed their throws, and it's led to another error. E6 gives Dooley second base as well. Leadoff hitter is on for Hackensack to begin the sixth inning. Towering pop-up. Ranging backwards to make the play this time. To make amends was West, and there's one out after Williams pops up to shortstop. Kayla Onofre, the ninth place hitter in the lineup, will step in. Onofre reached on an error in the second, struck out looking her last time up in the fourth. Onofre looked like she was going to be offering at it with a bunt, did not go around. 1-0 the count after it missed on the outside edge. Again, taken off the plate As Dooley dancing down at second base, it's now 2-0 in the favor of Onofre. Brianna Darling waiting on deck. Could be the next hitter due up to the top of the order for the Comets. Yang's pitch taken in for a strike. 2-2. And Onofre got on base with that error in her first at bat, just with the bunt right back to the pitcher. Lays off that curveball that moved outside the zone. It's now run full at 3-2. Yang has struck out 5, has walked 3, has given up 5 base hits, and given up 4 runs in this game. And there's strike 3 called. Second consecutive time that Onofre has gone down looking. 6 strikeouts this afternoon for the freshman, Jenna Yang. Now there's 2 away with a runner still down at second base. And the top of the order, it goes to the shortstop, Brianna Darling. Darling had a towering home run down the left field line her last time up in the 4th inning. A solo shot. Her first home run of the season. As she stands in from the right side against Yang with a runner down at second base. Barely got a piece of that one, fouled it off of home plate. Darling, a .409 hitter on the season. Drove in her 6th RBI this season as well. First home run. As Yang short on that delivery. 2-1 the count against Darling. Outside edge for a strike, 2-2. So Jenna Yang 1 strike away from getting out of the inning and keeping this a 4-run deficit for her side. Leadoff runner reached on an error, was standing down at second, trying to strand her there. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. They'll have to complete the strikeout, throwing it down to first. They do so. Back-to-back strikeouts in the inning for Jenna Yang. She's up to 7 punch-outs in this game. And she keeps this a 4-run deficit for her side as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, as you're watching all the action here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Bottom of the 6th inning, 4-0 lead for Hackensack. As Fort Lee just produced their first hit of the game in the last inning. Now trying to produce their first runs of the contest as they trail here at home. As Rihanna Hernandez has had them off balance throughout the course of this game. Baba Vasalou is now stepping in. Second plate appearance. Grounded that one down to Darling at short. And dropped by the first baseman. So Fort Lee will get their leadoff runner on. That's going to be an error against Dooley, the first baseman. That was in her glove. Just could not complete that catch. E3 on the play, and Fort Lee with the leadoff runner on to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. Brings up Paige Eno. Eno went down with a strikeout back in the 3rd inning, 0 for 1. A little bit of a late check swing that went down the 3rd base line. 0-1 the count against Eno. Another ground ball going this time to the right side foul, just around the catcher's spot. Quickly 0-2 the count against Eno. Top of the order awaiting on deck in Jenna Yang. Can Fort Lee make the most of this opportunity after a rare error committed by the infield of Hackensack? We've seen errors play a big part in this game in terms of the offense for Hackensack this afternoon. 3 of their 4 runs are unearned in this contest due to throwing errors or fielding errors by Fort Lee. Rise ball out of the zone. Again, Hernandez has not walked a batter in this game. Missing the outside edge, and Fort Lee will take the extra base. Papa Vasalou is the sophomore standing down at the second base bag. 3-2 the count now against Eno. First time that Fort Lee has got a runner down in scoring position. And that's outside corner, strike 3 called. That looked like that might have ventured outside the zone, but the home plate umpire is the man who gets the final say. Backwards K, 3rd strikeout of the day for Rihanna Hernandez, and there's 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Brings up Jenna Yang. Yang, a ferocious swing and miss that time, 0-1 the count against the freshman. This young Fort Lee team has struggled in trying to produce runs. They didn't struggle at all in their last game against Dwight Morrow, as Yang takes that upstairs for a strike as well. Scoring 18 runs in an 18-2 lopsided victory on the road at Dwight Morrow, picking up their first win in league play. But outside of that, the Bridgemen have only scored 4 runs the rest of the season. They were held to 1 run in losses against Westwood and Bergenfield, and then only managed to produce 2 runs in our last broadcast last week against Ridgefield Park, a 7-2 defeat here at home. Hernandez could not hit that outside corner this time. 2-2. Runner down at second, 1 out here, bottom of the 6th inning. As now that one goes high, and it's been an opportunity here for Yang once again to help her own cause. We've seen that on the other side with Hernandez collecting a pair of base hits for Hackensack. Yang drives that one to right field. That'll be caught, not allowing the runner to tag from second to go to third. And now there's 2 outs in the inning after Yang is retired for the 3rd time in this game. Onofre making the catch. 2 outs in the inning with a runner down at second in the bottom of the 6th. Caitlin Park, the center fielder, 0 for 2. Flew out to right field, also went down on strikes in the 4th. Here's a strike there for Hernandez. Again, the Bridgemen led off this inning with an error by the first baseman. Could not complete the catch on what would have been a ground ball out. Ground ball down to the shortstop, ranging over to the third base bag, throwing over the diamond, and they're going to deem that that is not in time. Off the bag again, the first baseman not able to hold on to it after Darling made a very difficult play down in the deep hole of short. That'll be another infield single. Another base runner, and Fort Lee has something brewing here. Runners at the corners with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Olivia Hausman stepping in. Only the 2nd hit of the game for the Bridgmen, as that one traveled high, and good job there by the catcher Hicks of holding on to it. Hausman with a pair of pop-ups to the shortstop in this game, 0 for 2. Base hit would drive in the first run of the day for Fort Lee as the wind picks up here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Runner is off, just going to be no throw. Easily will take second base. Now 2 runners in scoring position here for Hausman, who took that one in for a strike. And out of her crouch was Hicks after that one went wide at the strike zone. Vasilou is now standing down at third base, parked behind her at second. 2 outs in the inning, bottom of the 6th. That is a rocket shot, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. That's going to drive hit a pair. It got away from the left fielder as well. A 2-run double down the left field line for Olivia Hausman. And just like that, Fort Lee has trimmed their 4-run deficit in half. It's 4-2 Hackensack as Fort Lee continues to bat here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Fort Lee takes full advantage of that error to start off the inning. And Olivia Hausman with 2 outs in the frame does a good job of driving that one down the left field line. It got away from the outfielder, but it was going to plate home too regardless. Intentional walk given up to Castillo. So that's going to have now the tying runs on base for Fort Lee at first and second base with 2 outs in the inning. Interesting decision there. They wanted no part of Castillo, who's 0 for 2 in this game. First walk of the day for Hernandez. She's going after Emma Schulman. Schulman is 0 for 2, grounded out to third base in the 2nd inning, popped up to the catcher last time she was up in the 5th. Potential go-ahead run now in the form of Schulman at home plate. 4-2 deficit for Fort Lee. Towering pop-up, trying to range in. Can't make the play from the outfield. That's going to score another run. That throw gets away. That's going to tie the game. Castillo was standing in at third, but that should be the tying run, and now they eventually say that she comes around to score. And that'll send Schulman all the way down to third. And just like that, Hackensack's 4-run lead with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning has completely vanished. It's a 4-4 game. After Schulman had that pop-up fall in shallow center field, that would score the 3rd run of the game. And then with the runner sliding into third base, that was an airmail throw that allows then Fort Lee to score with that runner with the ball going out of bounds. "4-4 the score now in this game. It looks like Hackensack coaching staff was trying to plead their case. Brian Hooper was out trying to see whether or not the runner should have been still held at third base. But again, she was going to be in there safely when the throw got away after she was already in the third base bag and went out of play. So that runner scores. And now the go-ahead run for Fort Lee is down at third base. A 4-run bottom of the 6th inning has leveled the score 4-4. There's a strike now delivered against Bella Plout. Plout got the first hit of the game in the last inning for the Bridgmen. Swinging over that one, it's now 2 strikes against her. With the go-ahead run standing down at third base for the Bridgmen. 4-4 your score now in the bottom of the 6th inning. This game has turned completely. Missing inside. As Rihanna Hernandez was cruising throughout this game, she had a perfect game going before Plout was the one who broke it up with a base hit in the last inning. Again, good eye there by Plout, laying off of that pitch. Too low and outside the zone. Three hits in the inning here for Fort Lee. 4 runs have crossed home plate as well. That's taken low by Plout, and now 3 balls against her. This inning started with an error charged against the Hackensack infield. On the outside edge, they will call that a strikeout, and that will end the bottom of the 6th inning, but not before Fort Lee strikes for 4 runs in that bottom of the 6th, and that will tie this game up at 4-4 heading to the top of the 7th here on YouTube. Brand new ball game as we head to the top of the 7th inning. 4-4 your score. An improbable 4-run outburst there for the Bridgemen in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Gianna Bruno trying to drop down a bunt there, fouls it out. 0-1 the count against her. To think that all came with 2 outs in the inning as well. That was clutch performance. Olivia Hausman was the one who drove in the first 2 runs with 2 outs. And after an intentional walk, Emma Schulman's base hit drove in a pair. Worley had an opportunity to potentially take a lead into this top of the 7th inning, but they had that last runner stranded down at third base. Bruno socked that one to straightaway center field. Having to play it off the hop was Park. Leadoff single to start the 7th for Hackensack and Gianna Bruno. Bruno's first base hit of the afternoon, and she is a stolen base threat as well. So the Comets trying to bounce back after squandering a 4-run lead. Bruno with the base hit. 6th hit of the game now for the Comets. That brings up Ava DeBar. DeBar is 0 for 3 this afternoon. Swing and a miss. Late offering that time. She was fooled on the pitch by Yang. 0-1 the count. Bruno has 4 stolen bases on the season for Hackensack. She's standing down with the leadoff hit to begin the 7th inning at first base. Ground ball down to the second baseman. Only play is down to first. And now there's one away, but Bruno will move in his scoring position down at second. DeBar with her 3rd ground out in this game. She's 0 for 4. Runner at second, 1 out. Tie game, 4-4 here in the top of the 7th. Brings up Grace Abraham. Abraham has gotten on base in her last 2 plate appearances. Had the double back in the 3rd and drew a walker last time up in the 5th. Bounce low, 1-0. Castillo with a good pick. Hackensack 4 runs on 6 hits in this game. Again, bounce low by Yang. The imposing Abraham, who's been a doubles machine. She has produced a double in last 4 consecutive games for Hackensack's offense. And that's a beautiful pitch there. Almost unhittable on the outer edge. as Yang doing a good job of staying away from the inside. Abraham pulled on one in the inner corner back earlier in this game. Again, trying to work on that outside edge. Bruno, the go-ahead run down at second base. Yang staying wide again, trying to stay away. Full count against Abraham, 3-2. As Coach Bill Straub will come out and talk things over with his pitcher and catcher. As the infield defense was venturing in to try to see if they're going to be part of the discussion, but he told them to back away. He knew what he wanted to say to his pitcher. 3-2 count again. Runner down at second base with one away. A tie game here in the seventh. Abraham inside out of that one. Grounded it down to second base. That's the second out of the inning, with Bruno moving now down to third. Back-to-back outs on grounders to second base, and once again, Jenna Yang with a chance to get out of the inning. Serene Hicks, the catcher, will step in. Hicks is 0 for 3 this afternoon. A couple of ground ball outs in the infield, as well as going down looking on a strikeout in the third. Pops that one up to second base, and after surrendering the leadoff hit, 3 in a row produced with outs by Jenna Yang, all to her second baseman. Now a chance for Fort Lee as we head to the bottom of the seventh inning to produce a walk-off victory, as we're tied up with Hackensack 4-4. Bottom of the seventh inning, 4-4 games. 7, 8, and 9 hitters due up here for Fort Lee. This would be an improbable come-from-behind victory and their best win of win of the season if the Bridgemen can produce this one here today. It's been a fun one on a beautiful April afternoon here at Fort Lee. As Hernandez missing. Again, it was a 4-0 lead for Hackensack heading to the bottom of the sixth inning. They had 2 outs in the inning, and Fort Lee, with a 2-out rally, was able to produce 4 runs and even had the go-ahead run at third base. That was left stranded by Hernandez. Hernandez producing 2 strikeouts in that last inning. Gave up 3 hits in that frame as well. Another strike in the outside corner against Taylor Soholis. Soholis, line drive out to the first baseman in the third inning, grounded into a fielder's choice. Back in the fifth inning. Three-two count. Fort Lee get their leadoff runner on again to begin the inning. They did that in the last inning, courtesy of a throwing error for Hackensack. 3-2, strike three looking. No chance there as Fort Lee will have to take a seat. Leadoff runner hitter is retired, and there's one away here in the bottom of the seventh. Five strikeouts now in this game for Hernandez. 3 strikeouts in the last 2 innings. As that's going to be a pitch that misses inside against Papa Vasilou, the sophomore, who was the one who reached courtesy of the throwing error and came around to score the first run of the game for the Bridgemen back in the 6th inning. There's a strike called for Hernandez after the Fort Lee left fielder did not offer. That missed high and in tight. Now 2-1 the count. Fort Lee trying to make it back-to-back wins on the season. Hackensack trying to make it 3 wins in a row, as that's fouled straight back. 1 out, no one on base here. 4-4 game, bottom of the home 7th. Fort Lee also trying to produce their first win at home this season. That's a hot shot. That gets by the glove of the third baseman into left field. 1 out base runner here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The potential winning run is on base now for the Bridgemen. Five hits now in this game for Fort Lee after they were starved for hits after being no hit through the first 4 innings. Brings up Paige Eno. That pitch is in the dirt. That's going to be a throw down to second base. Not in time. Aggressive base running for the Bridgemen paying off there as no hesitation whatsoever. Once it got away from the catcher, they were going towards second base. The throw was too high as well, as now it's an opportunity here. A base hit may bring home the winning run. Paige Eno with a pair of strikeouts in this game, and there's going to be a base hit. It's going to be a walk-off win for Fort Lee. As the Bridgemen get a double down the left field line, and Fort Lee comes from 4 runs down to win here in walk-off fashion in the 7th inning by a final score of 5-4. What a win for Coach Bill Straub's Bridgemen, who now improved to 2-3 on the season. And a heartbreaking loss for Hackensack that were in control 4-0 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. They fall to 3-5 on the year. So Fort Lee wins in thrilling fashion here in the bottom of the 7th inning. They pick up their first win here at home. Next game for Hackensack, they will take on the Paladins of Paramus Catholic at home on April 19th, while Fort Lee will travel to arch-rival Cliffside Park on Wednesday for another matchup in the American Division. So again, the final score here from Fort Lee High School. Fort Lee with a come-from-behind victory, down by 4 runs. They turn it into a 5-4 victory after the walk-off double there by Paige Eno to end things in the bottom of the 7th inning. For all of us here at Fort Lee, I'm Dan Long saying so long. We'll see you next time here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel.